Gotta be true to yourself. In a world there's nothing else. Gotta play the game right, gotta make your path. You scratch, you dig, you lay in your ground. You bustin' your rounds, nobody gon' stop you. No ops, no cops, everything about you. Looking good, you good, she good. Y'all people really wanna know the reason? It's that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back triple.
Hey, what's going on? It's your girl Kid out back in the Ripple Effect. You already know what it is, and you already know the vibes. Shout out to all the supporters. I appreciate y'all. And just for y'all, I told you I'm gonna be coming out with more content. Here I am. Now that behind the scenes things are kind of, they're still out there, but now I get to spend more time with you guys. You know, because when you're running a business, you know, it's real. It's real, but it's all good. That just means business is good, and that's all thanks to you guys. Much props. But guys, last day of the play-in tournament. So what are we thinking, right? We have the Bulls in Miami first, so let's talk about them first. They're gonna be on in a couple minutes. Let's kind of get through them. Miami, man. I mean, they got swept by the Bulls in the regular season, so that can go one or two ways. Kyle Lowry has to look to be aggressive. He has to get his guys involved. Jimmy Butler cannot miss point-blank shots. You know, that can't happen. Can't happen. You know, the Bulls are just going to take it and run with it. You saw what they did last game. It's can't happen. So what they need to do is, well, let's not forget the main thing they need to do. Defense. That should go without saying, but that's just what it is. Apparently it needs to be said because there was no communication on defense. Guys were getting wide open shots last game, so these are things that they should have cleaned up. But I don't know. Erik Spoelstra kind of just looks, you know, like kind of like how UD was looking on the bench, you know, just beside himself. I think that's just the best way to put it, because it just didn't make any sense. Like, you know, it's a make or miss league. Sometimes you're going to miss shots, but if you're just not showing that effort, you know, whether it's on the defensive end, whether it's with the, you know, the 50-50 balls, you know, like the rebounding, the second chance, if you don't do those things, then that's just a lack of effort, and that also, you know, tells you a lot about the team in general. Just the whole leadership, the Miami Heat culture that everybody keeps, you know, preaching, and when Udonis Haslem gone, not to go too far, but when he's gone next season, some people say that Udonis Haslem has a lot to do with that Miami Heat culture. Not saying that it isn't Pat Riley, because obviously it is, but you know, you need someone in the locker room that not only embodies what that Miami Heat culture is, but who's shown you, who's been proven, and who else is more proven than UD? You've seen what he's done, right? You see all the different teammates that he had, and you saw the nice things that they said about him on his last day. So you know his impact was real. So trying to figure all that out with just a night or two, and I'm not trying to, you know, big up the Bulls, but I mean, it is DeMar DeRozan, and honestly, he didn't have like the best game. You know, he had an okay game, but he didn't have the best game. Now Zach LaVine, on the other hand, had himself a night. But if both of them are in sync, and you have Vujicic, that can easily be a mess. That can easily be a blowout. I mean, it can get ugly. So Miami Heat, they better figure out something. And honestly, I think they're out of time. I told you who's going to be the X factor with the Miami Heat. It's going to be Kyle Lowry. If Kyle Lowry steps up with that championship mentality, like, listen, I don't know about y'all, but I'm not going out like this. You know what I mean? And then hopefully Jimmy Butler can, and Bam, Hero, all these guys they really have to buy in. They have to play defense. You can't just rely on your shot. You can't argue with the refs when something doesn't go your way. You just have to stay disciplined. You have to stay focused. I mean, the best have said it. The people who have been winning, Draymond even said it. I mean, it's about the little details, and they're not even in the playoffs yet. But the next team, that you're going to be facing, it's, don't get me wrong, like nobody's really giving them any one of these teams a chance against the Bucks. Like that's not happening. But if you want to play for something, if you want to be able to compete, you gotta come back to the basics. Like, it just can't be, oh, I'm just gonna rely on my 3-point shot, and when it's not going, I'm not going back on D. Like, it's just terrible basketball. Nobody's gonna want to watch it. It's not gonna happen. But hopefully they do kind of look at themselves in the mirror and kind of really think to themselves, like, are we really gonna end our season like this? We've made it, to the postseason like 4 years in a row. Are we really gonna end like this? Is this the way we're gonna go out? Like, that's something that they have to dig deep for, and I know they have the ability to do it. But the Bulls have proven all season that they're gonna take this game. So I don't have much faith in Miami. Sorry, I like the organization, I really do, but the Bulls, I don't know, they got something going here, and I know DeMar DeRozan's daughter, DR, is not going to be in attendance, so she won't be relying on her screams, for them to miss. But I mean, it's a different team though, so it's a different type of thing. So we'll see how it goes. We'll see. What's next? Timberwolves and OKC. That's going to be a good one, because I believe the Timberwolves got the best of them, right? By one game, it was like 2-1. 2 wins, 1 loss, right? So Anthony Edwards is not going to have another bad game. I don't believe that. I think he's going to look at the film. I think he's going to just get out of his own head. Maybe he was overthinking it. I mean, he was like 0 for 9. It was just too much. I just think he just needs to go out there, relax, and play his game. Not force the issue too much. You still want to make sure other guys get involved. I know it must have been tough with everything going on with the fighting with Kyle Anderson and Rudy Gobert, but Rudy Gobert will be back tonight, so it will be interesting to see the chemistry and how that team can kind of galvanize and come together. And that team has always been lacking, that maturity, and it's been worse, because when you look at from last season to this season, I wouldn't say they got better, and they gave up a lot, in order to get Rudy Gobert, and hoping that they would, be in the mix, not necessarily championship contenders, but be in the mix, be in the conversation, somewhere where the Kings are, where they're going to surprise some people. Like, they're not necessarily, contenders for championship just yet, but they're gonna mix it up, and they're gonna make things interesting. They're not gonna be an easy out, so that would be interesting to see how that goes. But when you have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, you have Giddey, you got Dort, those guys are balling. I love the way they play together. It seems like anybody can kind of go off. I kind of like how Giddey got mad the other night. His whole team actually kind of liked it, especially SGA. Because you want guys to see, you want to see that passion. You want them to show it. And sometimes that's just the way it is. You're competing at a high level. You don't like some of the things that people do, and you kind of, you kind of get in their face and let them know, like, hey, I wasn't feeling that. And I like that. Like, that's sports. Like, that's what it is. You're gonna stick up for yourself. You're not gonna be, a pushover in that sense. And that's what gives me, hope. But at the same time, because I like these young teams that are up and coming that nobody's really talking about, and like I said, I referenced the Kings earlier, and they're also in that conversation. But Rudy Gobert is back, so you have to be anticipating rebounding. You have to anticipate his blocking ability, or just his ability to be able to, deflect some of those shots. Maybe he may not get the blocks, but just be able to alter them in a way where they're not going to go in, and that's going to make the difference. Those are the things that's not necessarily going to show up in the box score, but, and he'll give you a couple points, he'll give you 10, 15, but it all depends. Like, I think it really depends on the chemistry, because if Anthony Edwards has a great game, you're talking about Rudy Gobert maybe giving you like 10 and 15, and guys can start, playing together, knowing their roles. getting those 50-50 balls. Like those are the little details that people don't really, they kind of ignore it, loose ball, and they're like, oh, whatever. Like, those are the things that can separate you. It's those little details, because some of these games are going into overtime. And remember, whoever loses tonight, that's it. It's bye-bye. There's no tomorrow. So, either they booking their flight to wherever, Cancun, or, Turks and Caicos, whatever, or they getting ready for a playoff series. That's completely up to them. And that's not going to be no picnic either. You're going to be playing against Denver. And McDaniels is going, like, that's, he broke his hand because he was upset. And Timberwolves, they just have a lot going on. But I hate to root against Anthony Edwards. But at the same time, I have to respect OKC. I have to respect Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, what he's been doing and averaging like over 20 a game. I have to give him his props, because he's been a leader. And that's what you want to see from young guys from year after year. You want to see growth. And he's growing into an all-star. He's definitely one of those guys that he may sneak up on everybody. You just never know. So we just got to sit back and relax. So if you didn't get my 2 picks, I'm picking the Bulls. Okay? And I'm also going to pick OKC. Just because, continuity matters, chemistry matters. I just don't see it. If they're able to get it together, more power to them, but I'm just not seeing at this point in this stage. But real quick, before we get out of here, because I know the games are coming on, the Knicks series, yes, the Knicks series is coming on Saturday, tomorrow. Tomorrow's gonna be that day. Tomorrow's definitely gonna be that day. Everybody's calling it the most interesting series, maybe out of the whole playoffs, right? I mean, that's probably hyperbole, but but it's definitely out of the first round. Out of the first round, it's definitely gonna be interesting. And I actually had a conversation with my boy yesterday. Just trying to pick, who's coming out of the East, who's coming out of the West, and I'm not really going to get into that right now, because technically I still got more time to think about that. But I'm telling you, the Knicks could surprise you. And if you know me and you've been, listening to me or watching me for quite some time, you know that I'm not just going to pick the Knicks arbitrarily just because I'm a Knicks fan. I'm also a realist. I'm a Knicks fan, but I'm not going to sit here and act like we're going to the championship every year. That's not the type of fan that I am. I'm one of those fans that understands where we're at. But the Knicks, where we're at, is actually it's not only special, it's crucial. Because it's all pretty much dependent upon Julius Randle's temperament. And I know that's a lot to put on one guy, right? But it definitely costs to be the boss, though. We saw him put up a 50-point game this season. We've seen what he can do, and what he could do is it's just scary. It's unstoppable. That left-handed shot, the things that if he can just not talk to the refs, because I don't think I've ever seen him interact with the refs and it's gone good. I think every time, especially Knicks fans, you know what I'm talking about. When you see him talking to the refs and he's like extra sweaty and he's just, and he's just really getting in there, and you're just kind of like, nope, don't do it, Julius, please, don't, no. And then the time when he started going that quickly, it was just hot mess. That's what I'm talking about. We can't have that. That just can't happen. Especially if somebody's trying to save you from yourself. Let them save you, please. Let them save us, because the Knicks, they have a bench. The Knicks have a culture. The Knicks play defense. The Knicks can put up points. The Knicks have a clear leader. But I need Julius Randle to... It's kind of hard, right? Because you don't want the guy to not be himself. Because being himself is what got him obviously this far, right? But at the same time, I just need him to control himself when a call or something doesn't go his way, to not take it over the edge. Or even if you can't do it, but when you see one of your teammates trying to help you out, please just let them help you. You know what I mean? Like, just let them help you. You're probably, no one's even saying you're wrong. You're probably right. You know, but that's something that you go back to, you know, to Thibodeau and see if he'll challenge it, but he can't be challenged. Like, we only get one challenge, bro. Like, what are we doing here? Like, and we're not challenging everything, because at that point, it sounds like it's more so you. You know what I mean? So hopefully, I just think he just needs to watch the film and just pay attention to himself and the things that he can control. That's it. Only control what you can control. That's it, because that's all you can do. When you start going outside of that and start worrying about everything else, that's when problems tend to start, right? Because now you have these expectations for everybody else, and clearly they're not on the same page as you. So it's like, don't, and that could be a little something for life too, just so you know. But for real, like, that's really how it can go. And that's no disrespect to Donovan Mitchell, because I'm sure he's probably going to have a 50-point game, you know, throughout this series, like I alluded to in my last podcast, because he's just that special. Garland as well. Like, they definitely have a squad over there. I don't want to take anything away from that squad. But the Knicks, like I said, they have a bench. And that acquisition of Josh Hart, I mean, well, I can take it a step further. When they got rid of Cam Reddish, like, listen, a lot of people were like, oh, what are you talking about? Like, he was good. I never said he wasn't good. Sometimes when you trade a player, it's not because they're not good. Not every player fits into the system. I think they did him a favor. He did not fit into the system. You know what Tibbs was trying to do, and it just didn't fit. That's why when he was saying that he wanted to trade, and then he was like, oh, you know, and the media got a hold of it, and he's like, oh, I didn't say that. Of course you did. You're not happy. And I actually understood that. You should be traded because you're not happy here. And you know what? You're not going to be happy, and that's just going to disrupt the flow of everybody else. It's a hard system to play in because Tibbs is no joke, bro. Like, he is a hard-nosed, defensive-minded coach. I mean, even when we went on a winning streak, he barely cracked a smile. That's just the type of guy he is, just because he has very lofty goals for the Knicks. He doesn't just want to, you know, be happy with getting in the playoffs and, you know, maybe being happy with, you know, being able to match up with a team like Cleveland. No, he wants to beat them. He's trying to go to the second round. He's trying to even get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Like, that's his mindset. So with that, so when he decided to trade him, I was like, okay, cool. Because he clearly didn't fit in whatever it is that Tibbs was trying to do. And obviously, it's predicated on defense. And even we could take it a step further and understand that even Mitchell Robinson was having a problem, right? Because he just felt like he was doing cardio, right? He said he was just running up and down the floor. He didn't feel like he was really an intricate part, you know, of the offense. And, bro, sometimes it's not about you. Not every night. It's not going to be about that. You know, they're reading the defense. And they're pretty much going to do whatever the defense is giving them. They're not going to force anything just because you feel like you need to get more shots up or whatever the case may be. But that's just all part of growth too. He'll learn. You know, Mitchell Robinson is a great young guy, and what he does on the defensive end with his blocks and his rebounding, I just think if he concentrates on that more, Tibbs will definitely give him more of a role in the offense. And that's just how it goes. I mean, so when they got rid of Cam Reddish and then they decided, oh, let's get Josh Hart. When they said Josh Hart, I was like, I don't think I could have thought of a better player myself. Like, and that's not true because I actually had that in mind, because Josh Hart just fits the mold. He just fits the mold. He's a team guy, you know. And that's not to say that Cam wasn't, but I mean, a guy who literally will put the team first. He doesn't care about how many shots he can get up, even though you know the boy can shoot. You know what I'm saying? He's all about what's the team concept about? What are we doing? You know, he's very much of, come on, let's do this. Like, he's very much of trying to be inclusive. Like, he's just that guy. He just fits. Like, it was just perfect. And when that happened, I was like, wow. Like, we're just really stacking him up. When you look at how great IQ has gotten, Immanuel Quickley, man. And I always compared him to like Maxey, but I'm like, and Maxey just got his starting role right with the Sixers, but I'm like, yo, but even just when you look at the ascension of Quickley, I'm like, yo, Quickley looks like he's better than Maxey now. I'm like, that's just how good he's gotten. And you got, I could just keep going with Obi Toppin and Grimes, you know, McBride. All these guys just fit. They just fit. They just have to just pay attention to the details and stay focused. Not necessarily worrying about how many shots you get, not worrying about the refs and how they officiate the game. Play within the game and stick to the plan. If you stick to the plan, I can see my Knicks going to the Eastern Conference Finals. It's not a hot take. If you've been watching the Knicks all season long and you look to see the path that they would have to go through, and then if you consider Boston and everything that they have going on with, you know, with Jalen and Jason, and some people may be like, wait, what's going on with them? Oh, you haven't heard? You didn't know JB felt some type of way? You don't think Jason Tatum has something to do with Kevin Durant almost coming to, you know, Boston from the Nets? You know, Jason Tatum and Kevin Durant are actually really good friends and actually work out together, right? So JB actually felt some type of way. He never really, I'm not going to sit there and say that, like, you know, he was like upset about it, like, but he was concerned, sure, because he thought he was an integral part of what Boston was trying to build. But when he saw that wasn't true, it was just Jason Tatum and he was the only untouchable. There's just something there. And now I see JB has really been playing out of his mind all season. And that's not to take anything away from Jason Tatum. But sometimes I'm saying there's something there. There's something there. And the only thing about the only thing I have to say about the East when you're talking about the Eastern Conference Finals is I'll give you that already, because I think the Bucks are gonna be right there. Jrue Holiday and his ascension, man, it's unbelievable. I knew Duke could score, but you know he's known for his defense. That perimeter deep, like, dude can lock anybody up. That's just what he does. He can lock anybody up. Even when you see him locking up Al Horford, like, this dude is no joke. But anyway, guys, point is, we'll be paying it. I'm gonna come on a whole nother episode, a whole nother breakdown just with the Knicks and Cavs series. Don't worry. But I just wanted to give you a little something because I want you guys to understand the Knicks are not playing this year. They're not playing. And if as long as Julius Randle can not only watch his temper, but just at least listen to his teammates when it's time to reel it in, we could be watching something special. But y'all already know, I only ask y'all to do one thing. Just think about it. Losses equals life lessons. Peace.
Gotta be true to yourself. In a world there's nothing else. Gotta play the game right, gotta make your path. You scratch, you dig, you lay on your ground. You bustin' your rounds, nobody gon' stop you. No ops, no cops, everything about you. Looking good, you good, she good. Y'all people really wanna know the reason? It's that ripple effect. That's just that ripple. That's just that ripple effect. What you do, come back triple.